Hello, everybody. My name is Axel Post, and the man across from me is Tate Stone Frasina. And this is Thinking Right Center with team number 7, I think. I have no idea. We're on the Cincinnati Reds, though.
I have no clue, man.
Yeah, no idea. But we'll run through what we always do, what they lose, what they gain, and the trades they made. They lost Harrison Bader and Hunter Renfroe, kind of.
Kind of.
Because collectively, what? They play like 40 games for them? Maybe?
Yeah.
They lose Derek Law and Chasen Shreve for whatever that's worth. And Joey Votto, who is still unemployed and he's posting Instagram, like stuff on Instagram that's making me very sad. I'd like for him to be on a team. So essentially, they lose nobody except for like the veteran presence of Joey Votto.
No one except their heart and soul.
Yeah, which, hey, never know. They had a very active offseason. Now, the names aren't necessarily gigantic, but they
Yeah.
certainly were active. The big one is Jeimer Candelario, who we'll get to. I'm a Jeimer Candelario stan. Nick Martinez, Emilio Pagan, Brent Suter, Frankie Montas, and then it gets really fun. These last three are fun. Tony Kemp, Mike Ford, and Josh Harrison. 3 quad A players.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I can't believe they signed Mike Ford. Their infield's stacked.
Mike Ford was like weirdly kind of good for the Mariners last year.
He was not like he just was flat out. He was flat out good last year.
Hey, former Brave. Former Brave. Let's not forget.
He brave.
Oh yeah, Mike Ford was an Atlanta Brave at one point.
The only thing I know about the only thing I know remember about Mike Ford is that they're on ESPN when he was a Yankee. There was a side by side of him and Babe Ruth on the screen at one point, and I have it
The
saved in my
great,
camera roll.
the
It's so
great.
funny. It's basically just like, oh, he's a fat lefty. He's Babe Ruth. But
I personally am passionate about fat lefties.
yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you?
It's a passion of mine. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I had to describe this team in a word, it would definitely be fun. The Reds,
Young and hot.
yeah.
I don't so just fun. We'll go with fun.
We'll leave
Concern.
out leave out the hot part. But so going through the lineup, as always, starting it off with TJ Friedel, had a monster year last year out of nowhere. Put up a 4.4 F WAR
A great American small park merchant.
for sure, for
Yeah.
absolutely certain. He will not put up a 4 WAR again.
No.
I think he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, it's definitely serviceable.
He
But yeah,
runs,
nowhere last year. I was like, oh my, who is this?
yeah, his quality of contact, his WOBA was
Hmm.
353, his expected WOBA was 290.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't like to be that guy that just compares the expected stats to real stats and be like, well, he got lucky. But when it's that drastic, typically there is something to be said
Yeah.
for it. But at the very least, like, he's not a bad bat.
No, not at all. Not
And
by any means.
he stole 27 bases. I expect him to do it again. And he plays a good defensive center field.
Yeah.
So he's just fine. I think TJ Friedel's fine. I know Reds fans are going to be super high on him because they're going to be a little biased towards what he did last year. But
Yeah.
he's a fine, average center fielder who's going to steal some bags, which fine. And he's going to take advantage. I'm not sure if his game, like if he's anywhere but the Reds, he might not be good at all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of my thought right there.
But he plays a great American ballpark, and you can't say that he doesn't. So it's
And
going to
our
work.
good results.
Then here's where it gets exciting. So TJ Friedel doesn't really excite me, despite how good he was last year. Then it goes 2 and 3 are Matt McLean and Spencer Steer.
Just awesome players.
Yeah, just both rookies last year, both hit well, like very well. Matt McClain
Yeah.
got cut short. I think it was a hamstring injury, but
Yeah.
I think he's a walking. He hit 16 home runs and stole 14 bases and 403 plate appearances. I think he's a walking 2020 season with good defense at
Mhm.
second.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, he is going to strike out, but he hit 290 last year. He's not going to hit 290 again. He struck out 28-ish% of the time. Guys who strike
Yeah.
out 28% of the time don't hit 290. It's just kind of how it is. I expect to be a little bit better, but not too much better. He's always kind of shown the whiff, but he slugged 507.
Yeah. For second base, especially, like, that's awesome.
And he's a guy where, we'll talk about Elly a little bit now because he's the wild card. But if Elly's not there, he's an everyday
Yeah.
shortstop defensively. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so he's going to be a good second baseman. And the only problem with Spencer Steer is that he was god awful at almost every defensive position he played last year. But I think now having a full offseason, understanding he's going to be a left fielder, he is a good athlete. I think you can figure out left field. If you can't figure out left field, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like Spencer Steer mashes, you got to find a place for him in the field. Yeah, he'll figure it out.
I'm not worried about Spencer Steer. He's 26 years old. He's been an infielder his whole life. He's an athlete. I'm not worried about him figuring out left field. If he's an
No.
average left fielder, the bat plays. I mean, 665 plate appearances last year as a 25-year-old, hit 23 home runs, stole 15 bags, hit 271.
Awesome.
Yeah, walked enough, hits for enough power. He's great. Both, and Matt McClain is 24, Spencer Steer is 26. I mean, it doesn't really, in terms of young talent, this team, like this is the team.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And the old guy is a guy that I love is Jeimer Candelario. I'm so in.
Tell us about your love for Jeimer Candelario.
I'm so in on Jeimer Candelario because, so here's the thing. He got non-tendered by the Tigers before the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
And he obviously, like, he balled out this past season. He hit 22 home runs, hit 250, slugged 470, and with the Nationals and partly with the Cubs.
Yeah.
But I think people look at they see that he got non-tendered and they think that he was bad, all the way before in his career. Jeimer Candelario led the league in doubles one year with the Tigers.
Yeah, it's one of those guys that is on the Tigers who never really paid attention to him. Like I always just knew the name. I was like, oh, yeah, that's third baseman for the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually a very talented player.
Like a very talented. Like so he came up because the Tigers just kind of let him suck for a while. So that's where also that notion, because they were bad. So fuck it. Just let him suck.
Yeah.
But 2020, obviously a shortened season. He had a 140 WRC plus. And then 2021, he has a 119 WRC plus, puts up a 3.8 F4. He hit 42 doubles that year. And then why he gets non-tendered is that he plays 124 games and has a 78 WRC plus, gets non-tendered.
Big drop off.
Huge drop off, but then bounces back this past year with a 117 WRC plus and a 3.3 F4.
Yeah.
And he's projected to play first base.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be a good defensive first baseman because it's like he wasn't a disaster at third. He could still play third.
Yeah, you could pick it at third a little bit.
Yeah. So I think he'll be good, fine over there defensively. And I think he pulls the ball pretty well. And he is a switch hitter, but you're going to take most of your at bats against right-handed pitchers. Means you're going to hit lefty. It's not far to right field there. I think my prediction is that he will be closer to 30 home runs than 20.
Oh, I like it. I like that. What was he at last year? 22?
23.
23.
I think he'll be closer to that 30 number than, because I mean, the Nats ballpark isn't a small ballpark.
No, not really.
And then he went to Wrigley, and down the line is even further there. But
Yeah,
Wrigley's a hitter's park though, so I can't really give him that.
yeah, just the wind.
No, but I'm so in on Jeimer. I think it doesn't. So I love Jeimer Candelario. It doesn't make sense that they signed him, but I like the fit for him as a
We
player.
were we were talking about that. I was like, I don't know why they really signed him, honestly, but
Which, yeah,
sure.
because yeah, we'll wrap up talking about the infield. Elly De La Cruz. Who knows? Yeah,
He could.
that's the perfect reaction.
I mean, it's the ball really hard. He also strikes out a lot. I mean, yeah. I mean,
The ceiling is best player in baseball.
yeah, exactly.
The ceiling's best player in baseball. He in the floor is he washes out of the league a couple years, like legitimately.
Yeah.
Because if there, he has some very glaring problems that I think he's so talented that he is going to fix. I don't think he's going to wash out of baseball. I think he's an all-star for a long time.
Yeah, I think we see this a lot with younger guys coming up, and it's like, you take your lumps in a couple of years in the majors, then you figure it out.
Yep, and he is always going to carry a higher strikeout rate by just he's 6'7", man. Like
Yeah,
it's
he's
hard to
the bat hard.
yeah. Like he struck out 33% of the time last year,
Yeah,
which leads to an 84 WRC plus.
is the opposite of Elly De La Cruz. Is that David Fletcher?
Yeah, pretty much.
I hate him so much. De La
Just hatred.
Cruz.
The projections,
Just
I
hatred.
think this
Just
is weird.
everyone needs.
I think this is weird. The projections have him for 33 stolen bases. He stole 35 in 427 plate appearances. I think he's going to.
Yeah,
I think he'll steal 50.
the guy takes 3 steps.
He's the fastest guy in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, and the bases are bigger now, so
He got on base at exactly 300 clip, and still stole 35 bags. He's going to have a
yeah.
higher on base than 300.
Hopefully,
I
he'll
really
have.
hope so. I hope for a huge season. That'd be
Yeah,
so fun. He just
he's
turned
not really the walks kind of guy.
not really.
Yeah,
But I think we're not going to see the ceiling season from Elly yet, but I think you're going to see a lot. He's going to provide a lot of value. He's going to be a lot of fun.
yeah. Just those tools are so exciting. Like I think he'll put it together.
Yeah. At some point, I don't think it's this season where he puts everything together, but you're going to see improvements, and it's going to be enough to be a 3 to 4 win player pretty easily.
Yeah.
And third base is Noelvi Marte. He fucking crushes the ball.
Yeah, I wanted to know a little bit more about like your thoughts on him because I think definitely a top prospect. Yeah, that's the Luis Castillo trade with the Mariners.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't pay too much attention to him last year. I know he kind of went off in the minors last year.
Yeah. So he has plus raw power in terms of how
Yeah.
hard he can hit the ball. However, his spray chart is, I mean, I don't think he knows that there's a field to the right of second base.
It's just straight pull.
Just a straight pull trying to crush everything, and the thing is that he's so talented bat the ball wise that he only struck out 20% of the time as a 21-year-old. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, it was 35 games. Still had a 120 WRC plus.
There we go.
He hit 316. I don't think he's not going to hit 300, but another tooled out guy.
Yeah, the Reds seem to have so many just totally tooled out guys.
Just tooled out. You just have to see some progression there. He's still 22. Him and Elly are 22. The left side of their infield are seniors in college.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, crazy. And they're both tooled out. They both swing out of their ass and try to hit the ball really, really hard, which I obviously love. And I would prefer trying to hit the ball really fucking hard to David Fletcher. So there's obviously that.
Yeah.
But
these guys aren't thinking right center,
No, they're not thinking right center. Not thinking right center. And he is fast, but he can't really play third base very well.
Ah,
which is weird because he's like a good athlete, but can't really play third base too well. The defensive metrics on Elly are weird. Defensive runs saved, hates him, but outs above average loves him. So I'm just going to go ahead and call him an average to above average defender.
yeah, just take the middle,
Yeah, well, I'll call him average range wise, and then I'll add the arm onto it, and call him above average.
Okay, cool.
That's just what I'm going to do until
Yeah.
somebody proves me differently. I don't know, but the left side of the infield in general is weird because Jonathan India is projected to be on the bench or in the DH spot.
Yeah, former rookie of the year.
Yeah, I wish they would just trade him. I'm not a huge India guy, honestly.
Yeah, it's very fine.
Yeah, and I think the reason that he hasn't been traded is because his splits away from Great American Ballpark are awful.
Really?
Yeah, he has like a 600 OPS
Ooh.
away. Yeah, it's not great. He really takes advantage of the small park. So I think the Reds just see the best version of their team being Jonathan India, roving like super infielder, DH, bench guy.
Yep.
And they're just going to keep it that way because my guess is that they patrolled the trade market and they didn't see anything that was worth it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fine play. He's a really good player in that role.
Yeah, I
One
know.
of the best you'll find.
He's like right in between that and like above average second baseman.
Yeah, which fine. I mean, it makes them a better team. I wish that they were able to trade.
Yeah, exactly.
The DH is Christian Encarnacion Strand. We are both gigantic fans.
Oh yeah, guys, smokes. Big part of the Dover Green Wave rebuild.
And our MLB The Show rebuild, big, huge part.
Oh yeah, go Green Wave, baby.
He swings at literally everything. So, like, he really does. He swings at everything, but it works.
It's a theme with this team.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Just
It's just
tools and very little discipline.
tooled
Swinging.
out, tooled out young dudes that swing at everything. He's going to hit for a lot of power. Hit 13 home runs in 63 games, and he's going to hit for a weirdly high average, but
Yeah,
it won't. It doesn't make his OPS any better because he's not going to walk.
he's not going to take his walks.
Yeah, so he's going to hit for a decently high average. His on base isn't going to be much higher, and he's going to slug. And depending on how much he slugs, is how good of a player he is, because that's just kind of how that's going to roll. But I'm excited. I don't want to see any of his at bats get taken away by anybody.
No, exactly. Like that's why the Candelario signing was like confusing for us. We're like, he could be your first baseman every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy's good.
Yeah. And we have to pencil in, like, we have CES is the DH penciled in right now, but I don't know. I see a decent amount of his plate appearances getting poached from some other guys on certain days. Like India's getting his playing time. Jeimer's going to play first base. Marte is going to man third for most games, is my guess. So
yeah,
I am worried.
It's kind of like a thing. Yeah,
I'm worried about the infield construction, especially when the outfield is a little. I mean, they're not weak, like, because I love Will Benson, but
Benson, very cool player.
he's like just a good player. But
Yeah,
you're gonna shield him from lefties with Stuart Fairchild. Like, I don't know, man. Is the correct reaction to that. Their catching situation is bad. We'll just put it straight up. Tyler Stevenson should not be catching in the MLB. He should be hitting in the MLB, but he can't. He needs to find a new position or something because the defensive metrics absolutely despise him.
tough.
And their backup is Luke Maile.
Oh wow, Luke Maile.
Yeah, who's still in the league. Congrats to Luke Maile. And Austin Wins. Austin Wins is in AAA.
Austin Wins. That's just a name you always will come across. Be like, that guy's a third catcher, second catcher on team.
That's right. And
guy catches baseballs.
He's gonna play for them at some point because that's just
how
this normally shakes out. And Jake Fraley on the bench, a player I actually like. I think
love Jake Fraley.
Yeah, I like Jake Fraley. I think he's another guy that benefits from being a Great American Ballpark, being able to pull the ball. Doesn't have that much natural power, but you just get the ball in the air in right field there, and you got a chance.
And he looks cool.
And he does look cool. He does look like a Viking.
The big underrated part.
And so I like the lineup. It's obviously super fun. I think everybody, there's reason to believe that almost everybody besides maybe TJ Friedel, I think Jeimer does similar things. Tyler Stevenson honestly can't get much worse than what he was last year.
And Tosh is such a good hitter. But it's like he's such a good hitter as a catcher.
But he like wasn't a good hitter last year is the problem.
Yeah.
Like he had an 85 WRC plus last year. He's been a good hitter, so I'm willing to run him out as a catcher again and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to run Luke Malik or Austin Wins out? No. So there's reason to believe that everybody in this lineup can take a step up.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
they already scored the 9th most runs in the league last year.
They could also get worse.
They could also get worse because they're young and have sophomore slumps, and it's a very volatile team. And the same can be said for the pitching staff.
Yeah.
Like Hunter Greene is very exciting. Has some command issues. I know he throws 100, but the 100, his shape isn't great. It's a little bit of a dead zone-y fastball, and when you don't command your dead zone-y fastball at 100, guys can still hit it. It's the MLB.
Yeah.
He has been working on some new pitches in spring training, though. I think he's trying to pick up a splitter or a new curveball.
Okay.
I was reading right. So he's obviously, he throws 100.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're blurry, dude.
Why am I so blurry? All right, I'm just gonna keep talking and see what happens. But
Well, yeah, he's had he came up obviously knowing his fastball is really good. You're back. But he almost had a reliever arsenal.
Yeah.
It's like fastball slider and working on a changeup, working on something. But it's you can't just you can't wheel that out.
Right.
Especially
you see even Spencer Strider now needs to work on a third pitch, right? He's prioritizing that third pitch. He has the best fastball and the best slider in the whole league, and still has to work on a third pitch to be a starting pitcher. You need one.
Yeah.
So obviously a guy to be excited about, and he's still good regardless, pretty good. The question is just staying healthy. He's just got to stay on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Nick Lodolo, who I love. I actually like him more than Hunter Greene when he's on the mound.
Nick Lodolo, yeah, gross stuff.
And his stuff plays better in Great American Ballpark.
Yeah.
In terms of just a ground ball pitcher, Hunter Greene, when he's bad, gets burned by the long ball pretty bad.
Yeah.
Nick Lodolo is a ground ball pitcher. He's got really electric stuff, but he's even more questionable to make 20 starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's dealing with something right now, so he might not even make opening day at this point. Graham Ashcraft, guy who's got another guy with good
Great
stuff. Good stuff. We just got to try to figure it out. One of my favorite underrated moves of the offseason was Frankie Montas going to the Reds.
I loved it too. I was like, this guy's a couple years removed from being really good.
And just hurt. He's been very hurt, and he finally had a seemingly normal offseason.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I was looking at that on the list. I was like, man, I can't even remember when they signed it, but I remember I was like, this is a good signing.
It's a $16 million flyer on Frankie Montas, who's only 31 years old this year. If that works out for you, that lengthens your rotation quite a bit.
Exactly. And if it doesn't work out, he's still got good stuff. You can find a way to fit him in somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And Andrew Abbott is honestly the guy that bucks the trend of the entire team.
Yeah.
There's nobody more boring in baseball than Andrew Abbott, to be honest.
I like him though.
I think Andrew Abbott gets lit up this year.
Oh, I mean, he does. I don't know the metrics exactly, but from the eye test, seems like below average stuff from the left side.
It's very below average stuff from the left side.
You a weird amount of strikeouts to start out the year, and everyone's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, it was crazy when he first came up, and he was dominating, and I remember watching games being like, how is he getting out? It's like, what's happening?
I remember thinking the exact same thing. I was like, why is he going out there and shoving right now?
Yeah, I think the ceiling's obviously very, very limited. I'm not an Andrew Abbott guy at all. I'm
No.
more another signing. They made two really good signings for their rotation slash pitching staff, and it was Frankie Montas and Nick Martinez.
Yeah.
I
Mention.
really like Nick Martinez. He was like a hybrid guy for, yeah, he made he threw 110 innings last year, and he's thrown over 100 in the past 2 seasons
Yeah.
with a 3.4 ERA and pretty good stuff. I think, he's more of a five and dive kind of guy,
Yeah.
but they just needed some length and some security in the rotation, and I think Nick Martinez gives it to you.
Yeah. You need a spot start. He'll give you 4 good innings.
Yeah, 4 or 5 good innings and
Yeah.
get out of there. And if Hunter Greene comes back and looks great, if Lodolo looks great, if Ashcraft looks great, if everything goes correct, like if Frankie Montas looks great, or if Abbott and that's 5, right?
Mhm.
He's pitched out of the bullpen. So at the very
Yeah.
least, you have a good bullpen arm. And you're asking, you know, you think Abbott's going to get kind of blown up this year. Who's going to be that starter? I think it's going to be Connor Phillips, who is down here currently in the minors, but he has electric stuff. He in Double-A last year in 64 innings was striking out 15 and a half per 9. Yeah. I think it's obvious, every time a guy's striking out 15 and a half per 9, you know what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's command.
Exactly.
I think he pitched 20 innings last year and had a near 7 ERA. It's obviously not good. But I just believe in the stuff more than I believe in Abbott. And I think that Connor Phillips is going to be in the rotation. I don't know how good he's going to be. He might not be great, but I think he will be better than Andrew Abbott. Another guy to look out for, Brandon Williamson. I think he was another guy that came over. He was the other guy that came over in the Luis Castillo trade. Pitched last year a little bit, had a mid, or not even a little bit, had 117 innings for them last year, had a mid-4s ERA. So that's like your safe guy. I think Connor Phillips surpasses him this year, though. Connor Phillips, 23 years old, I think has a super high ceiling. I'm all the way in on Connor Phillips.
Yeah.
So that's my little rotation dump there. The bullpen, what do you think about the bullpen?
The Reds bullpen.
Yeah.
I do love Alexis Diaz.
Of course.
Because he's cool. Other than that, couldn't tell you a whole lot about the Reds bullpen.
Yeah, it's not like they were good last year. Or actually, they weren't good last year. They were pretty bad.
They were bad.
I mean, and they were pretty bad, and the only real addition that they made was Emilio Pagan, who is
Brent Suter.
And yeah, sorry, I almost forgot. Brent Suter's the man, though.
He's awesome.
Brent Suter's awesome. Brent Suter had a 3.3 ERA
in Coors Field,
in
throwing
Coors on the moon.
Yes, it's like throwing. Well, the listeners won't know, but it's like putting Nick Berger on the Rockies. Shout out Nick Berger.
Who will for sure listen to this.
Doubtful.
Yeah, no shot. Somebody might send it to him though.
Yeah.
Lucas Sims is a guy to maybe get excited about. Has like some good stuff, but I don't know.
Former number one overall prospect, Lucas.
Yeah, it's so I'm looking at it's a stable of like regular relievers.
Yeah.
Which, weirdly enough, is kind of valuable.
Yeah. I was actually, I don't know why, I was watching a Lucas Sims interview randomly like 2 years ago. And something I think that's cool that the Reds do is they go, every one of our relievers has a different strength, and that's all we use them for. Like Lucas Sims throws a good slider. Yep. He's going to come out there and throw constant sliders against a bunch of righties.
Yep.
like stuff like that, which I think is a cool approach to your bullpen. Like
Yeah.
everyone has a specific job against specific matchup.
Yeah. I mean, it works for them. And they all threw everybody projecting their bullpen besides one guy that I'm really going to root for, which I'll tell you later, uh, had threw at least 61 innings last year.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
they used
so
all of their guys.
all of them got pretty even-ish workload, which is pretty unique.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy that I am going to root for seems like just one of the good guys in baseball because everybody that tells a story about him is rooting for him. TJ Antone,
Oh yeah,
electric stuff.
got like Tommy John got a bunch of random.
He's had every arm surgery under the sun,
Yeah,
and he threw five. Came back through 5 innings last season, struck out 7. I think gave up 1 run. Either way, it
yeah,
doesn't really matter. The part that matters is that he's back, right? He's healthy and is projected to be in the bullpen. If he's healthy, he and looks normal,
stuff's gross.
this stuff's gross. So that could
Yeah,
be this. Honestly, TJ Antone could kind of be their ace in the hole in terms of a bullpen arm.
yeah. Also a friend of Steven Swift, TJ Antone.
Yes, that's true. Our friends do. A lot of Rollins drops on the
I
pod.
know. I think Stu at one point did forget his name, so we're gonna like demote him to acquaintance.
Stu
But
forgets everybody.
that's the Stu way, so it's okay.
But no, I mean, bullpen's fine. I'm not nobody to really get too excited about here, but
Um,
a lot of solid arms, and you know, it's hard to pitch a Great American, so maybe that's why their stats weren't great.
yeah,
The over under, at least when I checked it, which was actually kind of a while ago at this point, it was 82.5.
I lean towards that over just because number one, big Reds are boomer bust in my opinion this year. A lot could go wrong, but then again, a lot could go right. And I think I'm leaning more towards stuff going right, just like the way things have progressed. But also that division like still isn't that strong. So like that, I'm taking an over on that one.
I'm also going to take the over. A lot of it is tied to the division, but a lot
Yep.
of it is also tied to the fact that I think Matt McLean's going to be roughly what he was last year. Spencer Steer is going to be roughly what he was last year. I do think Elly's going to take a step. I do think they did get better signing Jeimer Candelario. Like all of these guys, there's going to be one of them that gets worse and has a sophomore slump. But if only one of them does, they can survive that.
Yeah.
And if the rest of them take even a marginal step up, then I see no reason. They won 82 games last year. I see no reason why they couldn't win 83. Right.
I'm with you. I'm with you. We're big Reds fans.
I'll be watching a lot of Reds games.
Yeah, was there fun too? They're gonna hit nukes in a
Yeah,
small ball.
I'll be watching a lot of Reds games. I think they will compete for the division as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, everybody in this division is going to compete for the division.
Yeah.
So besides the Pirates. But all right, man, we're going over. We like the Reds. We're so excited to watch them.
Hell yeah.
Going to be it for us.
Sweet.
Signing off.